The next thing is to take out the ejector kickers or the ejector sears, which ones you prefer. You can take either out. Now all you need is a little drift. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is on my nails. Now knock out the pin. From right to left. I'm taking the pin that holds the sears in out first. Careful they don't jump out on you. There's a little coil spring underneath them. Now that's the pin for the two sears. Now it should be marked. It's marked with a 1. It's got a little. No, it isn't. It's got 2 on it. They've marked it from the one that holds the hammers is marked number 1. This is marked number 2. Now, it's carefully taking these out so the little coil springs don't jump out on you. They're just a little tiny coil spring that goes in a hole on the kicker. Now, what I want to point out to you is the complexity of this little part. I'll pass it around for you to have a look at. Now, you can imagine trying to make one of these, and I've had to make them. If they break, and you have to make one, you've got a lot of work there because there's so many different angles and so forth. It's quite a complicated part. That's the sear. And it's the ejector sear, I should say, not to be confused with the sear in the gun. And they're right, there's 2 of them, they're right and left, you can't mix them up. And then finally, the last thing you take out is the ejector kicker. And again, carefully, it'll push out in a lot of cases. This one will. Pushes out from right to left. And there we are. It's marked number 1 somewhere. Anyway, it's not marked, so I know that number 2 is the one for the sears. I'll leave that. Now, the 2 ejector kickers will just slide out of the box. Now, the 2 ejector kickers are just like a couple of hammers in a gun, and they have a little swivel on the back end, which the claw of the ejector spring hangs on or locates on. Now, a lot of times you'll find that these little swivels will break off, and then the end of the claw of the mainspring will be pressing on the back of the ejector kicker, about there. And then, because it's pressing on there, the claw will probably break on this spring. And the ejector will probably work after a fashion, but because the spring is pushing on the back of it, but it won't work properly, and so you may have to make another one of these little swivels. They can be a little pain in the neck to make. They're very short. They're not very long. They've got horns on one end, a little hole in the other end where they fit into they're held by a little pin in the base of the ejector kicker. Now, the length of this swivel is critical. If you get it too long, you'll have your spring banging, pushing on the back of the kicker, which is again wrong. If you get it too short, then the bottom of the spring, of the claw of the spring, will choke against the bottom, against this part of the kicker, just down here below the swivel. So you've got to get the length of that swivel correct. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. And like I say, they can be a little pain in the butt to make. Otherwise, the ejector kicker itself is not very complicated. You could make one of those easily out of a flat piece of metal. They've got a slot in them for the swivel, which is no problem to cut that. But the main thing is these ejector sears. They're complicated. Now, the ejector box itself, there's a lot of work in that. Nothing much could go wrong with it. There's a centre divider, a thin centre divider in there. Now, all that was made out of a solid piece. You can imagine cutting the two slots and leaving that little centre divider standing up and drilling all these holes and so forth for the kickers and the sears. A lot of work. Mostly nothing goes wrong with that normally. I've seen the divider crack, but that's about all. If you want to, you can have a look at that and see, what's involved. But a lot of work in that ejector. Now they're still using this ejector system. Westley still use it. It's the only ejector system that will work with their drop lock, as it's known as, their drop lock guns, or hand detachable box lock guns, because they can't use the Southgate system with their drop lock guns. So they're still using this system. You could, if you get one of these in with a broken kicker or a broken sear, you could get in touch with Westley Richards and see if they'll sell you some. But they can be very uncooperative, and you may end up making them. I've made these things, and you can look at a day's work making one of those by the time you've made it, fitted it, and all the rest of it. Now, I'll put this one back together again. I've gone through all the parts in it now. First of all, you can put your kickers in, and you can't put them in the wrong side. They're just impossible to put right in the wrong side. Now one, what do I do with the other one? There we are, two. Put the pin in from line up the holes. Put the pin in from left to right. That's it now.